Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, my political rookie mistake. Of course, I'm talking about my ballot measure. When I began this quest to make a statement last year using the democratic process, I thought it would be easy. Why? Because I had so much facts to back up what I was proposing. Once I got it on the ballot, I noticed the promises that I was receiving from the media vanished. They were saying, oh, yeah, we'll give you a lot of coverage if you just get it on the ballot. And once I did it, because I guess they doubted me, they promised me, all kinds of press over the issue because it is unusual. But now that I did it, boom, no press, no print media is what I was going after. Of course, San Francisco Chronicle and Examiner. And uh, you think I had the plague the way they were treating me. So I realized, well, that's okay. I know that when it comes election time, they'll have to give me some press over this issue. They'll have to bring me into the editorial board to ask me some questions about this measure. And I'm loaded with answers, so I figured, well, I'll get them that way. Well, it was my political rookie mistake. Why? Because if the print media, in this case, don't want to talk about your subject, oh, they can get quite creative in downplaying it and making it not a big deal or anything like whatever they want to do. Well, I learned the hard way that this was the case based on the endorsements. Now, I have gone to many endorsement type affairs where you do a dog and pony show on your ballot measure, in my case, excuse me, and explain what it's all about. Well, I did just that, and some of the responses that I got was quite shocking. Why? Because the responses that these people and organizations published don't make a bit of sense. Now, if I may give a shout out to two who did uh, stand out, there's the San Francisco League, the Pissed Off Voters. They were the first one to jump on board with uh, endorsing my ballot measure. And San Francisco Bay Guardian endorsed my ballot measure. Yes, on Proposition I. It's in your voters pamphlet. I highly recommend you read the whole thing, and it is the shortest one on in the voters pamphlet. But within the last couple of weeks, two endorsements came out from the San Francisco Chronicle and the San Francisco Examiner. Now, I'm going to bring up on screen uh, what they say, read what they say about my ballot measure, and then I'm going to talk about my ballot measure, of course. So bear with me right here. Well, here it is. This is from the San Francisco Examiner. Now, I must say that I was invited in to the San Francisco Examiner editorial board. Well, I thought there might be 10 people in the room. There were two. But they asked me a bunch of questions. We talked for about 30 minutes. And I waited a month, and this is what I've waited a month for. Proposition I, relocation of professional sports teams. Prop I essentially asked San Francisco voters to apologize to Oakland for wooing the Golden State Warriors across the bay. It also cites the 49ers' relocation to Santa Clara. The measure has no real impact, but you're guilt-ridden about the Warriors' relocation. This is a way to formalize that feeling. But the Examiner is doing a no endorsement, meaning they're not saying vote yes or saying vote no. But let's look at this. It's essentially asking San Francisco voters to apologize to Oakland for wooing the Golden State Warriors across the bay. That's not what my ballot measure is about. My ballot measure, Proposition I, is San Francisco is apologizing to Oakland for the corruption of our city hall that wooed the Golden State Warriors across the bay. It is the corruption that we San Franciscans are apologizing for. Now keep in mind, I turned in 14,766 signatures based on the fact that I was telling people we owe Oakland an apology for the corruption of our political leaders and the shenanigans that they used to get the Warriors to come here. But if you look at this somewhat of a, whatever you call it, an endorsement issue, it also says, it also cites the 49ers relocation to Santa Clara. Why is that sentence even in the measure? I mean, the endorsement page. Yes, it does cite for the 49er relocation. What this does not point out is the fact that I said if we didn't like it done to us, meaning when we lost the 49ers to Santa Clara, why are we going to turn around and do it to someone else, meaning take the Warriors from Oakland? So for it to say it also cites the 49ers relocation to Santa Clara, well, you're not saying anything. San Francisco Examiner. Then it says the measure has no real impact. Well, that depends. If you run around and you don't believe you owe somebody an apology for something that someone associated with them did, you're going to have problems. Now, let me put it to you this way. Let's say San Francisco city workers went across the bay and stole traffic lights from Oakland. And they were caught red-handed. Well, the mayor of San Francisco, once they were caught, of course, there's going to be the criminal thing. This is my hypothetical. Once they were caught, you mean to tell me that the mayor or the board of supervisors or the agency, whatever city agency they work for, are not going to offer up a heartfelt apology for the actions of our city workers? People, this does have an impact. People don't understand. that an apology is a, a very important thing. But what it is this ballot measure, by us apologizing for the dirt that is our San Francisco politics, and I know this is not unique, there's dirty politics all over. Well, I can't help all over. I'm just dealing with where I live. If you look at the fact that the first thing that you have to do towards correcting a problem is admitting you have a problem. Well, I'm asking the voters of San Francisco to admit we have a problem with our dirty politics. And that's stage one. That's number one on the list. Admit. Now, in looking back at this issue, it says if you're guilt ridden about the Warriors' relocation, this is the way to formalize that feeling. Now, why in the world would the examiner want to do that? The point of the matter is the San Francisco examiner in that statement is making a trying to put a guilt trip on people so they would vote no. But they don't have the guts and the nerve, by this no endorsement to say so. Why? Number one, the San Francisco Examiner bought 2 seats in the new Chase Arena. And they're not going to publish that. And they thought that, well, we'll just play it safe and we just won't recommend one way or another without telling the folks that we bought into the new Warriors Arena here in San Francisco. Now, isn't that some sleaziness? That is Sean Hannity type stuff. Where if you know Sean Hannity and what he did and didn't disclose, that's what I'm talking about. And if not, I can't get into that. But anyway, the fact of the matter is we should all, if we have a bias or an opinion on something, but we have a conflict of interest, we should at least disclose it. But no, the San Francisco Examiner, they did a pathetic job. If I had known they were going to do this, I would have said, please, recommend that you vote, your readers vote no. The fact that this half-hearted attempt to have it both ways, meaning they dare not piss off the Golden State Warriors ownership and say vote yes on this measure, and they in somewhat good conscience realize, well, we don't have clean hands here to say no. Hey, the thing is it was a pathetic little deal, and I thought, where I'm coming in with my rookie mistake, I thought that there was nowhere in the world that the San Francisco Examiner was going to remain on the fence on this issue. I figured that they would come one way or another. Well, they didn't. Now, let's go on to the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, the San Francisco Chronicle did something that was quite interesting. Now, it might be too small to read, but it says here, pros, on the same Proposition I, that the potentially negative impact associated with luring a sports team away from its home city, like the pending move by the Golden State Warriors from Oakland to San Francisco. Well, okay, that's true. And the cons: the measure is non binding and is motivated by vague notion of not coveting a neighbor's possession. What? And for that, they're recommending, the San Francisco Chronicle is recommending that you vote no on Proposition I. Now, let me tell you something, people. This cons is a con. The measure is non binding. Well, it's an apology. Since when should an apology be binding? No. If you did something wrong, you admit that you did something wrong. And I'm saying that the voters of San Francisco are going to say our politicians did something wrong, and we're sorry, Oakland. And then it says that it's motivated by the vague notion of not coveting a neighbor's possession. What again? Vague notion? The Bible says, thou shalt not covet. Let's find that scripture. Oh, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservants, nor his maidservants, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. When Moses put this in writing in the Ten Commandments, notice the bottom part. He is basically saying, don't covet anything that is thy neighbor's. Now, if you want to get technical and say, well, the Warriors were here first. Well, when the Warriors were here first, San Francisco basically kicked them out due to lack of support. That's the bottom line. But this is no way to treat our neighbors. And that is what I am trying to point out in the democratic process. That how San Francisco, which has so much, is taking from Oakland that has an awful lot less, is reprehensible. The slogan on our Good Neighbor Coalition website is, a world-class city helps its neighbors. It does not help itself to its neighbors' jewels. That is in keeping with Moses' statement of thou shalt not covet. This ballot measure, once passed, will not say relocation of professional sports teams. It will say thou shalt not covet, and go on into that. But also, the San Francisco Chronicle did a follow-up. And this follow-up is really strange also. Let me read it to you. The Warriors' decision to move to San Francisco from Oakland set off a debate about coaxing sports teams to relocate. This measure follows that nearly forgotten dispute by asking voters to approve a non-binding policy discouraging the city from going after teams. It won't have any effect on the Warriors who are building an arena. Vote no. Well, the last part is right. It won't have any effect on the Warriors who are building an arena here. But it says this measure follows that nearly forgotten dispute. Well, wait a minute. I turned in 14,766 signatures. That doesn't sound nearly forgotten. These people, they signed and they're keeping up with us on our website, goodneighborcoalition.org. please follow it. But the fact is it again states non-binding policy. An apology, an admission of wrong, an apology, and a promise not to do it again should not be binding. It's you stepping up and saying, hey, this is not right. And I'm saying that the voters are going to reiterate the fact that this is not how we act here in San Francisco. San Francisco. San Franciscans, they are better than that. True, there are pockets of greed in San Francisco. But I'm telling you, the spirit that was displayed in bringing the Warriors over here, that's a city hall spirit, not a San Francisco resident spirit. And I'm saying that you, the voters, should not be tricked when it comes to these different endorsements, as I was misled to believe these people will be unbiased. Well, that's not it. One of the endorsements that I did not get, and these people, they didn't have a one way or another, it was the San Francisco Women's Committee. They took no position on this proposition. But I told them that if it passed, Oakland would be in a better position to demanding that the Warriors pay their $40 million debt. I need to also back up a bit. In the non-endorsements, the vote no and no recommendation from the San Francisco Chronicle and the Examiner, the one glaring thing that is missing from this, and all those who have said vote no on this proposition, they all miss one fact. In Proposition I, if you vote yes, San Francisco will take a stand against any professional team that relocates who relocates anywhere and tries to get out of paying a public debt. In other words, if the Warriors come over here, the city residents of San Francisco are demanding that they pay Oakland the $40 million that they owed them. Now, San Francisco stands to make millions by the Warriors coming here based on reports. Well, I'm saying that this ballot measure will say, Oakland, we got your back on this. Warriors, pay up. And if you don't think that I've got a solution for when the Warriors decide we ain't paying Oakland, you're wrong. Because you don't know this and don't tell anybody. Let's say that this ballot measure, whether it passes or not, and the Warriors build their arena here, the NBA, don't tell anybody, the NBA officials are being courted by the Warriors to hold an NBA All-Star game here. Hundreds of millions of dollars is at stake. Well, my next ballot measure, if the Warriors win in court in August or July or August and not have to pay, I'm going to have a ballot measure, and it's going to say that San Franciscans are taking a stand against stiffing Oakland. And we are saying for 10 years, we don't want to have anything to do with an NBA All-Star game coming to San Francisco. People, I'm telling you, this is not going to fly well. Now, I may not live long based on these tactics, but the cat's out the bag. I have all kinds of other things that I am going to take to the people. Why? Because I am tired of being ignored by politicians. And I'm telling you that these politicians, they're a slick bunch, but they will not succeed, because the fact of the matter is the people of San Francisco are better than what is going on. They were hoodwinked into believing that San Francisco wants the Warriors. Let me tell you something. You may not recall this, but when the Warriors were trying to build on the Embarcadero, there was a big production. Ed Lee had vowed he'll never apologize for stealing another team or taking another team from, because the same was done to us. That's 10-year-old childish statement. But this will be my legacy project. A legacy is a gift. You cannot give to someone what you stole from someone else, and call it a legacy. But here's the deal. I think Ed Lee was used. The only bit of evidence that I have is the fact that Ed Lee didn't even know who the star of the Warriors was. He called him Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry. Now, who in their Warriors' right mind is going to call Stephen Curry Stephen Curry? What I'm saying to you people is Ed Lee did not orchestrate this move. Somebody got in his head and said, look, you need a legacy project. And he went along with it. He was talked into it because he is a baseball fan and a football fan. Was not really a basketball fan, because you don't follow the Golden State Warriors and then come around and tell me Stephen Curry. Introduce Stephen Curry to the thousands that were down at the Embarcadero for this kickoff of what they thought was going to be the Warriors' new arena. But the kickoff, they ended up getting kicked out because the millionaires down there, they said, oh, no, you don't. You're not putting no basketball arena here. And so they ended up in Mission Bay. And that was a scam. Ed Lee threatened UCSF. You mean to tell me that a man who didn't even want to be mayor, which I believe Ed Lee did not want to be mayor of San Francisco. He was happy sending his daughters to college with his administrative job. Him turning around and threatening UCSF? No, I think he was put in a position. You have to be forceful. And he was following, okay, well, this is what mayors do. Well, that's what crooked mayors do. And he fell for it. And I'm saying to you, as voters, don't fall for it. Vote yes on Proposition I.